read this some more times, I'm going to jack that up a bit. That Fern Creek education is going to show at some point, but I didn't know when. It's the Love of the Game podcast. We in the building. I'm your host, Mondre Allen. We in this thing. Fellas, a lot has happened.
Yes.
Over the last couple weeks. First, to our Love of the Game listeners and family, first-time listeners, last-time listeners, ain't no last-time listeners. Once you in, it's like my granny house, dog. Once you come in, and they gonna make your first plate, but then after that, you gotta feed yourself after that. Dog. So after one episode, you officially part of the Love of the Game army. You family at this point. So why stop? You might as well roll with us, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From the remainder.
On the bandwagon.
Get on the bandwagon. All of our listeners, man, we appreciate you guys. We love you. It's been a long 2 weeks without you guys engaging with you guys. Make sure you go follow, subscribe, SUVtv on YouTube and SUVtv on Twitter. There's also a SUVtv IG account that you can go follow for all of your live content and your original content. SUVtv has done an amazing job supporting us, so please go and support them. Every kind of sporting event, football, basketball, women's pro basketball, like they're covering everything.
I watched that too. Yeah. I watched a few games.
Man, anything that you could possibly want, they got it. So we need to go support it. And our hometown got to do it. Okay, I have a question, and none of them are appropriate. So we're
Oh man, that's how we doing it.
Like it's going.
That's how we doing it.
Early, dog. Like I feel like.
That's how we doing it.
Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna go there. Listen, we are on Love of the TV. We are on SUVtv this week. We have special guests on the show, as you can see, and another one that you can't see. Next week, we have Florida State assistant coach CY. Charlton Young in the building with us next week. So please come back and rock with us on next week, the 27th. After the 27th, our next show will be on November the 3rd. It will be a Love of the Game unfiltered podcast. We'll be outside of the cozy confines of our lovely SUVtv studio. We'll be at an undisclosed location that I will be making known at the very last few minutes before the show.
So we're going back to the roots.
We are going back to the roots, dog. Live, unfiltered, unregulated. I cannot promise that show is going to be PG-13. We've been keeping SUV shows PG-13. I cannot promise that show is going to be that way, but it's going to be a good time. We come back to SUVtv November the 10th, November the 17th, and then our Thanksgiving special will be, again, a Love of the Game unfiltered podcast. So that is your read on how Love of the Game is going to flow for the next month. We appreciate you guys rocking with us so far, and hope that you guys rock with us and continue to rock with us as our schedule goes. So links, everything will be published. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on IG, and on Facebook for more information about our calendar. With all that being said, the man to my left, my brother from Ben Hill, former state champion, future state champion. Hey, man, I was there. I just so happened to be there watching his 3 NBA players that were on the same team at the same time in high school and watching some of you guys duck that smoke. I remember that. Y'all didn't want that problem. Coach Cabral, what's good, bro?
Oh, man, it's Christmas Eve right now. Practice starts tomorrow, so let's get it.
Man, Huff, you know some people been practicing.
Hey, man, you can't be putting that out there like that.
I just joke.
Hey, so look.
Some people already got their teams.
The official, let's say the official practice.
Right.
Hey, some people had flyers and stuff posted that said October 21st, tryouts. So I wanted to ask that question. Is it tryouts or is it the first day of practice on the 21st? What?
It depends on your team.
It depends on your team.
DHSA say it's supposed to be happening right now.
It says the official day of practice, but that includes tryout. Like you can't have by GHSA purposes, a team practice more than 4 to 1 or the 21st.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think some teams are trying out. I talked to a few college coaches. We can.
When you're a bigger team, when you're a bigger school, you obviously gonna have guys who probably haven't been doing conditioning, haven't been in the workouts that you have to give opportunities to. So it's tryouts. It just makes it a little bit a longer couple day or two before you can really get going. But they still probably getting everything they need to do in those first 2 days or a day.
Hey.
Or 30 minutes, however long they give those dudes.
Hey, you know the one thing I'm always excited about the first day of practice? Everybody's trying to dunk
Yeah.
in the drills.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
that may or may not be a good thing.
I just like seeing and enjoying it. Like, I'm not coming to your practice, so I want.
Hey, for
But-
all my vertically challenged people, go slap boards, dog. Represent. Go smack
Oh,
glass
slap the
with
backboard.
2 hands, dog.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot of that done tomorrow.
Should be a lot of glass clapping,
Oh,
dog.
yeah.
I don't want that to ever go out of style, dog. Go ahead.
Man, y'all get these kids cut, man. Y'all get these kids cut.
Hey, if
About
you
slapping glass.
look,
Hey.
if you ain't on the team
That's what
by
Dre
now,
said.
dog, you playing with house money at this point. So,
They better get a floater.
further left, South Georgia's favorite son, the South Georgia apologist. Evangelist. I keep saying that the
Evangelist.
wrong way. The South Georgia evangelist. The owner operator of freshman U camps.
That's me.
Dante Madlock, what's good, bro?
Hey, lots of ways the only way, man.
Hey, y'all got to give it up for these intros, man. I be smashing these, by the way.
You gotten better.
There's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
other
you-
podcast
you've
you're
worked
getting
it.
an intro like this.
You've worked it. You've worked it.
It took you 2 years. I remember the first. I remember the first show. We was winging it. We was winging everything. On first couple of shows, we was winging it.
Hey, man, Revolt TV, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, Puffy. Come drop that money on SUVtv, the whole platform. Y'all need a real sports department. You're not getting intros like this from Joe Button.
Oh, but
Hey, that's what they gave the bag to.
ooh.
I ain't hating. Just trying to get one. To my right, hey, man, if you're in the basketball community, I don't think this guy's a stranger to anybody. If you have not heard from him, I don't know maybe what rock that you've been under. If you follow his Twitter, he has probably made you use profanity and throw your phone across the room a couple of times since since you've had it. What, like your official title, trainer extraordinary, skill development specialist?
21
like,
years,
you go
no air
so
balls.
long 25 years, no air balls.
Oh, it's 25. I thought it was 21.
5.
My
It's
bad. My
25.
bad.
Longer than that, really, but
Lost count.
professionally, just, you know, 25 years training live, getting a paycheck from it. But I've been doing it longer than that. It's crazy because I have this past year, well, this summer, in my exchange program where I have kids visit from other states and countries, I had a kid whose father I trained that I met in 1987 when he was 11. So he sent his son to me from California to stay with me for 2 months, actually. So that's a long time, man.
So that's when you
Facts,
started counting.
facts.
Nah, I started counting in 95 when I got here.
95. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I had a strong year working out my one of my best friends, getting him ready for what was that I hit? A CBA, not a CBA. It was that was out there. They had it in Swanee. They had that pro team in Swanee. They had
ABA.
was it an ABA?
Yeah, ABL.
Yeah, get them ready for that, and it just went from there. You know, I just try to affect the culture, man, and remind people that, you know, the stuff that you're listening to now on social media, just because a guy has a lot of followers on Instagram or whatever doesn't mean they're knowledgeable. You know, it just means that they've put something up that's popular, a video or whatever, and I mean that's really it. You know, you got people following them like drones, like, oh, what they say is the Bible. No, they weren't around. Like, you know, they wasn't at the camp when LeBron killed
Lenny
Cook. You know, they wasn't there when Sebastian Telfair, you know, was at ABCD camp and O.J. Mayo made his debut, and they weren't there. They wasn't there when Ryan Harrell scored 47 points first game of the season, you know what I'm saying, 2009 at Georgia State, you know, with a packed house. They wasn't there when Ant-Man went at McKeachern and Sharif Cooper held his own. It was like, this is my house. So I've been around, I've been around coast to coast. So I'm having fun, man, that's all.
We're gonna get to it, man. It's definitely fun having Mark on the show. We got a stocked show with good topics for y'all. So let's go ahead and get to it. So this weekend we had a couple of pretty daggone good events, man.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Corey Black, always doing it big with the JUCO report. Shout out to
Yeah.
Chris
Watkins.
a
Yep.
part of the JUCO report.
That whole team.
Daniel Bowles.
Yeah, Daniel Bowles.
Daniel
Bowles,
Bowles,
yeah.
for sure. Chris, I'm getting better at telling you and Tony apart, man. My bad. If y'all wear hats, dog, it's over. Like, I can't tell y'all apart if y'all got on hats, man. But I'm doing better. But, man, a fantastic event. The JUCO report, the Battle of
The South.
the Battle of the South,
South,
Jamboree was a great event. I got a chance to see some schools that normally I wouldn't get a chance to watch.
To
play.
watch, yeah.
And man, I'm gonna say, hey, that JUCO ain't built for everybody.
Let me
dog.
ask y'all this.
Hold on. I just want to make sure people understand that it was about a year ago this time when you were one of those people who didn't understand the JUCO
Had
stuff.
no idea.
I had to put you on game.
Had
man.
never been to a JUCO game. Had never been to a practice.
I tell people that all the time. Like, and I'm an ANU guy, but for some reason I like watching the JUCO report games,
It's good games, man.
especially at Lake Point where there's games everywhere.
Is JUCO as competitive as my era in the 90s? I don't know. Because when was the last JUCO player to make it to the NBA?
Last one I heard of,
Who?
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler.
I'm trying to think if there's somebody out
It
there.
may be somebody
there's
that probably
there was
made it.
some
We
lower
probably
ones, yeah.
it's probably some lower ones. I don't
Jay
think.
Crowder.
Yeah, Jay Crowder.
That's the one I can-
Yeah,
the one I can think
went
of.
to South Georgia Tech.
And then one year JUCO.
Yeah.
No, he did two.
He did
Jay
2
did
years.
two because he went out to.
He went to
Texas.
South Georgia Tech first,
He went to Texas. I
then he
think.
went after that.
Yeah,
I
think
forgot where he
somewhere
went.
in Texas
Yeah,
after that.
So the numbers are not as high as it used to be. Back in the days, you had guys going
Well-
to Mount San Jacinto and just a lot of JUCOs, and they'd be able to go to the draft.
Yeah.
I think I'm not gonna say the level of competition is lower. It might even be the coaching. It might be a lot. Guys might not be getting as developed as they need to
I
at that
think
level.
now I'll agree with that. I think just basketball as a whole, we have a lack of development that's going on that starts way before they even get to high school.
yeah, true.
Sometimes even before they get to middle school, everybody wants to be on this thing of they got to shoot threes or layups, and we don't want to shoot mid ranges. Mm-hmm. But if that kid's too young and he ain't strong enough to shoot a three, why we got him out there shooting threes? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think that conversation comes up, and it's really more valid for the NBA guys, and that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
But just to touch on it, if I'm your boss and I'm paying you $30 million a year, and numbers say we should shoot more threes and get to the rim more, and you say no, how dumb are you?
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah,
what'd you say, boss? And I'm not doing it in the slave in like the slave tone,
Right.
but it's a reality of, look, if you don't do it, they don't get somebody from overseas that will.
Exactly.
And you gotta think about it. When they did it in baseball, when they came up with the whole money ball concept in baseball and said, okay, now the concept in baseball is we want guys that have the highest on-base percentages. Those are the best baseball players we can get. Why? Because we're gonna win more with those guys. And that has proven out. So once guys start to really understand, like, yo, that's a concept that we have to figure out how to do it the best way we can. We're definitely not saying give up mid-range, but we definitely saying look into it, because the analytics is not going anywhere. If I'm a billionaire, I'm investing, what is Bradley Beal up to get in a few years? 260?
something like
If
that.
I'm gonna give you $250 million to entertain people, then hey man, I need some of this.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So you're right, development overall is a problem, but that speaks to who's developing your child.
true.
I've spent time with Rick Pitino. I've spent time with Hubie Brown. I've spent time with John Calipari. I've spent time with Kenny Payne. I've learned my trade accordingly. When you quiz a lot of other trainers, who have they learned from? Who have they sat in on? You know?
YouTube.
It's being real. How many college practices have they gone to?
True.
How many NBA workouts have they attended? So we need those kind of guys training our younger players because guess what? Overseas, that's what they're getting.
Yeah.
They have now NBA Africa.
Yeah.
Which you can buy into. You know?
And that's
If I
who
had
getting
a-
drafted though.
Yeah,
the
if I had an
overseas
extra
players.
$250,000 sitting, I'd buy into a team.
Yeah.
Because no business failed in Africa. Business doesn't fail in Africa.
Right.
Especially an NBA franchise. So I mean, from going back to the JUCO thing, like we need more of those kids willing to invest in themselves, getting with the right people to train them and get them to the next level. Because you know, not enough kids are making it to the pros from JUCO, and I'm not saying JUCO is not competitive, but there's a possibility that they're not getting what they need to reach their final dream.
I wonder how much of it is that versus the perception sometimes of JUCO. Now I know if you're
I think the
like
perception.
amazing, like people are gonna find you, right? But I feel like we kind of have this hype train that's going on right now where everybody isn't necessarily looking for basketball players. They're just looking for dudes,
Athletes.
yeah, that can just
Run
run,
and
jump,
jump,
and dunk.
yeah.
And dunk. You know what I mean?
See,
Like we seeing hype get people to the league now to a certain degree, and then those guys are gone in 3 years.
But it's a reality. What I tell everyone, it's not the best ball players that make it to the NBA. It's the best athletes that play basketball well that make it to the NBA. So going to a recent NBA game, a preseason game, I'm looking on the floor at one team, and they don't have a player on there that's a pure shooter. But everybody on there is big, tall, long, and athletic. And they have the promise that they can shoot or the potential they can shoot. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for athletes. So if you're not out there developing guys athletically as well as skill, you know, you're really hampering them.
I would agree with that. I don't know from, like I said, from the JUCO standpoint, I'm comparing it to what we see guys think JUCO is or what that assumption is and comparing it to what we see from the high school level. Like, man, that's a jump.
It is big
That's a
jump.
jump.
That whole perception of JUCO has changed. You know, back in the '90s, as we were talking about, Mark, JUCO was for the kids that just couldn't get it done academically.
academically, yeah.
Now it is,
Full eligible kids.
kids that are qualified to go, maybe haven't gotten the exposure for whatever reason. They didn't play at the right AAU team, high school team. They moved somewhere else, whatever the case may be. Or it's sometimes used as, can this kid develop more? Can he get stronger? And I think that's been the kind of development of JUCO. So we've seen kids now go for that aspect, stay a year, boom, they get to the place they want to go. I would have to go look at numbers to see, you know, the
I would have to
JUCO
see it too.
kids going
And
to
I
the
don't
NBA.
necessarily judge them by that. And I want to know how you would feel about it. I would judge them based on how well they're preparing kids to play at the next level, which would be a 4-year institution for those kids, and go get your education for free, right? Like that's how I would assess is JUCO doing a great job of not. I mean, everybody want to go to the league, but I don't even know if the NBA is drafting 4-year seniors that play college at a high level at this point, right? Let alone JUCO guys.
Well, kind of. Like they'll take those guys in a set. Now, here's the thing: if I'm a 4-year guy and I have the opportunity to go to the NBA, I know I'm an NBA player, and my agent knows, and everybody knows I'm an NBA player. I'd rather get drafted in the second round. You know why? Because they can give me a 2-year guarantee. I'm not taking a 3-year. I'm gonna do a 2-year guarantee, get about $4 million guaranteed, and then after that, I can
team
get
option.
upwards of $50 million.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think there's a Gilbert Arenas rule that you can't get more than $55 million if you're a second round pick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying, I can get to the money quicker. Like Lonzo Trier with New York got a 2-year guarantee, and now he's a free agent. But he was a two-way player. You know what I'm saying? So that was even crazier. It's like you have two-way players earning their way into the NBA. At the end of the day, there are certain intangible things that the NBA, they want to see. Can you do this? Can you defend? Can you knock down that three-pointer at 40%? Can you shoot 45% from from the field? You know, and do you have the body that can last 82 games?
I also think part of our problem, and I know we're kind of getting a little bit off of the JUCO thing, is everybody wants to go to the NBA.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not bad to go overseas and go make you some money and play great competition.
It's not bad to play 4 years of college basketball
for
and get your
2 to
education
3
paid
to
for.
4 years, you know. And then we're now seeing where kids go overseas for that amount of time and then still get a look in the NBA.
Yeah.
It happens.
How about the kids that, and let's be realistic, there's not enough, there are a lot of kids who go overseas and get $1,000 a month
True.
playing overseas. And, I know when they're not getting paid because they're constantly showing themselves working out at the YMCA, working with the kids at the YMCA. Those are the babysitting jobs they give you when you're playing low-level overseas basketball,
Yep.
and that's part that pays for your per diem, that pays for your car and the apartment they give you. You know what I'm saying, as a bonus. So how about our guys focus on, if you can't make it as an NBA player, how about jobs in the NBA?
Exactly.
I'm around NBA
Yeah.
facilities a lot, and I always ask my player that I'm working with, hey, who's that guy? Who's that lady? Who's that guy? What does he do? Why is he always here? There's a lot of jobs available in the NBA that can lead to long-term,
Life after when the ball stops bouncing.
or
Yeah.
even if I'm 25, and I'm fresh off of a college season, I'm in great shape, I still got my skills, and I'm working in the NBA, I'm so valuable inside because I can actually have current conversations with the coaching staff, with the front office, that makes me valuable. That makes me as someone that, hey, let's ask Mark what he feels about this player. Hey, we got a pickup game after work. Hey, Mark, come work. You're on my team. That goes on. That's corporate America, as we know it. Our kids aren't being told that there's a life there. You can fly on that same private jet, live that same type life, and now you're an executive in the NBA for 30 years, making millions of dollars. But if no one talks to them about that, it never occurs. They don't even think, I'm just gonna go overseas. I got a 4-year degree, I'm gonna go overseas. Why? You know what I'm saying? There are so many options. Okay, when we talk about basketball, we talk about JUCO, we talk about high school. Why are we doing this? We're doing this so every parent says, I want my kid to get a free education. But then once they get to college, they don't talk about the education anymore. And that's where we fail sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And I know, you as a high school coach, you deal with so many kids that won't make it. So there's times when you have to have that conversation with them and says, hey man, what's your grades like in college? Like how many trainers, high school coaches,
True.
analysts, scouts talk to a kid and say, man, what's your grades looking like? What's your major?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be that parent.
Don't choose a school that doesn't have what you want to have your major.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Because what if you don't make it?
Yeah.
Now I really have to transfer someplace. And that's another thing. Do I actually transfer to a school that has the thing that I love to do, which should be your major?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
I'm tired of getting kids with,
I've heard
what's
kids
your
talk about
major?
getting
Business
bullied.
administration,
Yeah.
communications.
What are you gonna do with that?
I've talked to a lot of kids who talked about being almost bullied out of their major or their number of credit hours that they wanted to take as well. Like by the coaching staff, like, man, you ain't got time to be doing that, or you don't like. We didn't bring you here for. I had one guy specifically tell me, the coach told him, we didn't bring you here for this.
Oh, wow.
We're way off topic, but we're still on topic because we talk about JUCO.
Yeah.
We talk about the fact that those guys have to graduate JUCO now, don't they?
If they weren't a qualifier, they have 2 years. They got to get their associate.
You got to get your
degree.
associate
And they gotta have
degree.
a
But
2.5.
then, yep, and then you got to understand about the hours. Like, if you go to the wrong school, are those hours going to transfer?
Yep.
Or transfer to the school that you're trying to go to? There are instances where a kid has had 80 some odd hours. A certain school wants him, and they do a transcript review, and only 40 of those hours transfer, so they can't get into that school. So it all goes back to what you're talking about. What are we sitting now really expressing to parents, to the kids, about the next level, process, step, whatever you want to call it, in making their decision for the next 4 years of their life, which in terms of the next 40 years of their life.
100%.
Not enough kids are going to Harvard. Not enough of our kids are going to Yale. And not
They're
really-
looking down upon that when we look at
Yeah.
the Chris Lewises and the Robert Bakers,
Bakers,
who's
yeah.
at Harvard, that if you forget about what we all know is the 40 years, which is going to translate to that degree they have, I think they've been pretty successful.
They have.
And
They
Robert
really
did
have.
an internship with the NBA this summer where he worked the draft and he worked summer league. So he's going to the NBA draft in his suit, and people are like, hey, can I have your autograph?
Yeah.
You getting drafted tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I think all those things are important, and these are things that if you're a long time listener to the show, like these are things that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shameless plug HBCUs. I did not attend one, but I'm still bugging off that Jamel Hill article where 40% of black engineers come from HBCUs. It was like 60% of black judges came from HBCUs. Something else
She left
that
out
we
the doctors
that
come
she
from Morehouse Medical.
she went there
She
too.
went there too,
She went
yeah.
there too, 100%. So a wonderful article that Jamel Hill wrote for the Atlantic. If you have not read that article, hit me on Twitter, hit me on IG. I'll send you the link for it. She did an outstanding job. And when to me those numbers are still staggering to me. And if that's the case, why do we look down on offers from a HBCU? Okay,
That's
cool.
another. That's another.
That's another topic. That's another topic.
episode.
That's another topic.
But I did enjoy myself at the JUCO Report event and also at CB's event.
We got some
Good
people to
basketball.
talk about and some schools and.
For sure. Let's get into that real quick. Let's go. I think I saw a dude hooping in a do-rag, but it wasn't. I thought it was a do-rag, but it wasn't. He had one of them ninja headband joints.
I'm not
And
even
the way
giving
his
a-
hair was cut, I
man.
swear to God, Mark, I swear it looked like dude was hooping in a do. That took me back, dog. I follow dude around the gym like,
He went back to and one style.
I know. Right?
hey, dog. And speaking of and one, hey, bro, you didn't want none of that. Hey, bro, from Brunswick, you didn't want none of that. Don't even reach for it. Don't act like. Just sit down.
What team he played on? What kid?
Brunswick too.
Brunswick Community
He was on
College.
Brunswick's second team. Yeah. But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching those guys. Huff, I'll let you call out some names. Your kid who?
Yeah, Devin Evans, obviously at Southwest Mississippi, did his thing yesterday. Shout out to them for coming up to Atlanta to play. Tyler Stallworth, 6'5" guard, sophomore, Sheldon State. You know, first of all, Coach Joe Edmond does a great job with those guys.
He does.
I saw them play their first game of the day, and I said, man, this is the hardest working bigs that I've seen on a team in a long time. How well they sealed, Mark, and they were ducking in, and it was a work of art. And I asked him after the game, I said, why are y'all so good at that? He said, we're competitive and physical every day in practice.
You talking about that kid number 3?
I'm just talking
sure.
about all those bigs they had,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
that
duck-ins,
That dude
all
number
that.
3 was killing.
Those are things
So-
that translate that a Division I coach is looking for.
Exactly.
My personal view on why we don't see a lot of guys going from JUCO to the NBA is the speed of the game from JUCO to high major basketball is so different. The speed of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I think it takes guys a year. Sometimes it takes regular college players who go from high school to college. It takes them 2 years.
Yeah, to get acquainted.
And
Yeah.
it's funny you say that because obviously my time in college, we used to have this conversation as college coaches, like if you get a JUCO kid, sometimes it may take them a year to catch up. So now, if they spent 2 years at JUCO, now you may only get that 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year
But
with
they're
them.
really what you expecting them to be. You know, 'cause they got to play catch up with what it's like to be on your campus, catch up to play what it's like to learn their role on your team,
Yeah.
catch up to learn your system, players.
And then
all
what
kinds
happens
of-
if you have a young player that he needs some of the minutes that this senior ex-JUCO player is getting. Now you got to cut the JUCO players' minutes because
yeah.
I got a freshman. I need to move along a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
So there's a disadvantage, you know, sometimes if they're not in their off season, playing at a faster pace. One of the things our NBA scout told me was what's most important for your young players as they're developing is learning how to make decisions quickly. You know, if you look, the model of basketball is changing, especially with Mike D'Antoni and James Harden, and now you see the Atlanta Hawks doing the same thing. They're playing really fast. You know, I watched the New Orleans Pelicans play, and man,
Breakneck speed.
I was a heavy critic of Lonzo Ball in high school because I felt like he ducked competition. I created the whole duck season thing.
Yeah.
And to see him, you know, still get murdered a few times, you know, head to head, you know, we all saw De'Aaron Fox destroy him.
He do.
We saw that. Right.
By the way, the guard that I said was the best guard in that draft was De'Aaron Fox on our show.
I think he is too. Fox is special. But, you know.
Said it on draft day.
But now when you see that the style that ball that Lonzo Ball was playing in high school and then in college is now that's what we play.
Yeah, that's his style of play.
Now we got to go back and say, man, LeVar Ball is a genius. He just got a big mouth.
He was on the side.
Right.
You know,
He's on
but I
side.
love LeVar. LeVar's my guy. You know what I'm saying? I love him. I had an opinion on, hey, your son's a ducking competition. And he said, well, no, I just got them playing together. We want to play this style of basketball. He felt like that style of basketball they were playing would be the future. Back to the Paul Westhead, Loyola Marymount days.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah. I like Zoe, man. To me, give me a guard that's going to defend, that's going to rebound, move the ball, keep everything going. Like,
Can we get a
I like Zoe
JUCO
from
team?
the very beginning.
What's the JUCO team that plays like that? Are there JUCO teams that play like that, fast like that? Because if they do, now we're talking about a guy being able to come in and run that high major Division I offense like you would want as a coach.
That Wallace State team plays pretty upbeat. I can't necessarily say that they
they're-
play that way.
There are a lot of them.
They
I
move.
think
That Wallace State team moves.
you've got to spend more time watching them.
Yeah,
Actually,
for
when they
sure.
get
You
into the
gotta watch
season,
them, yeah.
For sure.
Because a lot of the times we're looking at these jamborees, and some coaches take the jamboree, which don't count on their records, differently. You know, some coaches. I heard one coach told me who used to coach JUCO said, you know, I remember one time I came to a jamboree, we didn't have any plays in, and I had this one kid who averaged 27 every game we played. Then once we put plays in, he couldn't get off the bench. On the flip side of that, I had a kid who couldn't play when we did the jamborees when we had plays in. Once we put plays in, he was the best player on our team. Now, I didn't go further with him and ask him, well, where did both of those players end up?
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's just a prime example. I think you just got to follow it during the season. Like, Northwest Florida is one of those
Oh, yeah.
premium JUCOs
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
always have high
Say the
major.
original name because they might not know no West Florida.
Go ahead.
Okaloosa.
Yeah.
O-Dub.
So they've had high major dudes all the time there. Coach Stephen DeMayo, who's now assistant at St. John's, was a head coach there.
Yeah.
Great dude. Like, so they've had dudes, they play a certain way. Like, they've been doing pick and roll stuff way before now everybody wants to do it, Mark. They've been doing that for the longest. So I think you just got to go back and look at the season as a whole when it comes to JUCO. I think as we go along this year, we can do that. But you were talking about that Brunswick team. They had a 6'10" dude that I really liked, Najee Thomas, a sophomore there. I thought he was very active, very athletic.
Good player.
You know, a lot of times we don't get to see those teams down here. I think Brunswick is from North Carolina, near the coast. We don't get a lot of time to see, you know, kids like that down here. Another kid that I like, shout out to Rico Dawson, his team who played yesterday, Central Georgia Tech, Dominique Pierce, 6'4" freshman. Hey, man, he had a highlight dunk on somebody yesterday. And
That boy can
like, he's a
play.
6'4" wing that just is, I mean, he gets it done in a variety of ways. I think we sleep on sometimes, you know, his son, I think, did a
Champ.
good job. Champ did a
Hey.
good job as he's moving to that point guard position. Like I saw, and I told Rico this yesterday, I saw his son get ripped like one play, and yet we all know how you got to turn the corner. That play is done. Next time, go down and lead his team. They got a bucket. Right after that, he got ripped. Like, you know how many times dudes
Hang
get
your
ripped
head.
and then
Give
they
up.
get another
Yeah.
turnover and
Another
another turnover.
turnover.
Like,
Yeah.
that, I think he did a good job leading his team yesterday. Like, for instance, Rico told me, he said he works every game in those jamborees. They do a different ball screen coverage. So by the time they finish playing these, I think it's 3 weeks of jamborees, they worked on all their ball screen coverages.
Rico, we got to have you on, bro. Got to have you on the show, man.
Does Rico have the team to repeat
I can't
With
say
time.
that. I don't
With
know.
time.
with time?
Yeah, I think they've got to learn. He's got some freshmen, but they do some things well. Like I told him yesterday, I said, you only gave up 53 points. Like, if you can consistently do that in a game, you should win. You know, I think all the offensive stuff is going to come together
Yeah.
with the talent that I saw there. I think it's going to be – I think his teams always get better as the season
They
goes
do.
along.
They really do.
So I think this is going to be another example of it. I know you were talking about the Wallace team. They had a guard I really liked, the freshman guard, Karan Gardner, number 3. I thought he came in and shot lights out yesterday. I know you like the big on that team, but I'll let you get to that in a minute.
Deep.
And then lastly, 2 things lastly. Kid John Morgan, he actually is a kid from Lafayette, I think it is, up North Georgia, who goes to Cleveland State, 6'7" freshman. He really impressed me early in the day for Cleveland State, making some moves, being aggressive, has that athleticism that you're not expecting to come in and dunk on you. And then we've talked a lot about, you know, the JUCO events allow prep schools to play. So we got a chance to see the TSFs, the Believe Preps,
Core Four.
Core 4.
In Middle Georgia.
Middle Georgia Prep. My first time putting my eyes on Core 4. And we talk a lot about players that left to go there. Only thing I can say is I saw a difference in Jaden Walker. I saw a difference in Kendrick Green yesterday. And if that can translate to whatever their season is like and everything else pans out, then it was worth it for those families.
So be more specific on like the difference, what you've seen.
I saw development body-wise in both of them, which is probably what you can get at a prep school that you can't get at a high school.
Kedrick's done a great job. He's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, I mean, he looked in better shape. I saw explosiveness out of Jaden, which you always saw it there, but I just saw a different level of confidence and
swagger.
how he did a step back shot that I've never seen him just confidently come off a three at that to do that. See him, go back door dunk on somebody. Like he just had a confidence, a different swagger,
different swag.
that he hadn't had before.
I got you.
I spent some time with Core 4. I went, sat down with them, watched them practice, just because I got questions, right? Like about this whole thing with going to prep school and guys going so young. I'm used to, post-grad going prep school or junior year going prep school. Kind of used to guys saying that maybe, come out as senior year and do a year of prep as senior year of high school or whatever. But I had questions about that just in regards to the process. Not necessarily saying if they were mistreating kids or anything like that, but like the process academically, how are things being handled, things like that. They seem to have something good going there. They have the facilities. There's still a lot of building and stuff that's going on down there at Core 4. They seem like they have a good plan in place that they want to do something good for kids in the community that they pull in. So I'm okay with it. I think just like with anything else, what I came away with is that I feel like there's pros and cons to everything. I don't think every kid is built for that environment. Like every kid is not built to leave home in high school and live in a house or in a place with their peers and
So you talking about two environments every kid's not built for.
grind all day.
Prep or JUCO.
Or JUCO. Every kid's not necessarily built for that. And because I'm looking at it from a social dynamic, right? Like there's no I'm going to the football game Friday night with my friends, right?
Yeah.
Like I got my workout in, I'm going to go, you know what I mean? There's no homecoming game. There's
no
no
dance,
prom.
anything.
And I think that socially sometimes those things are important. But
agree.
just like it's important and valuable for some, it's not as valuable for others, and guys can skip it and go.
But, okay, so overseas, all they have sports-wise is the academy system.
Yep.
And we're noticing kids playing professional basketball at 14, 15 years old, coming over here and doing well. It's not an overwhelming number, but it's enough that, the NBA is taking notice. And it's enough that we're getting guys from overseas come over here and getting playing Division I basketball and so forth, especially if they didn't take any professional money. I think we need more Core 4 type situations where our kids are getting an opportunity to play and learn more basketball at the highest level. Now we have this, there's a high school, like USA, it's like a USA or the NBA is doing something with the prep schools now. Because I think TSF played in it. I apologize.
The global games.
The global games.
Yeah.
It's kind of NBA Academy.
Yeah.
NBA Academy is what it's called. NBA Academy.
And so they had like teams from Africa, Australia, like all over.
Yeah, they came
and a lot of those countries basically, I don't want to say pigeonhole. They steer you one way. Either you're academic or you're athletic.
Yeah.
And this is what you
And this is
what you do. Yeah.
But that's a reality. That's a reality that we're not yet ready to face.
I'm okay with it.
Either you're gonna be an athlete, and you're gonna be an elite athlete, and you're gonna get college paid for this way, or you're gonna be an academic. The amount of money people pay for trainers to develop their kids, if your kid is not that good, take that same money and develop their academics.
Academics, yeah.
So let's make a point of this. You know what I'm saying? In the U.S., we only have IMG. You know, you have TSF, we have Core 4 as legitimate places where guys can go in and get now some academy type work. And, you know, here's a reality people don't realize is that you don't necessarily have to graduate from high school and get a high school diploma to be eligible to play Division I basketball. What you have to do is you have to pass those core classes. Because when you go to certain prep schools, they don't have the elective classes available. There's not a cooking class at Oak Hill.
No.
So you're taking your
right.
English, your math,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
social studies, whatever.
Science,
You're
yeah.
getting those classes done, and now I'm moving on with life. So, but some of those, like if you're at Core 4, you can still go to the prom. You know what I'm saying? You still on social media. Girl, I like her. She like me. Go to the prom. You still can do that.
If you're from here.
If you're from
If you're
here.
from this area,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They have
still
kids that's
can-
not from here,
yeah.
but if you're from here, yeah, sure.
And I think there's always an opportunity to be social. Is there an opportunity for our kids to be more professional, to really learn a trade, to really learn how to stand on their own? You know, like I know their coaches aren't allowing them to be filthy. Their apartments can't be filthy. You guys have to be in bed at a certain time.
Yep.
Some kids need this.
No, yeah, I agree.
Some of our kids, especially if they're gonna go and they're gonna play at a North Carolina. That's a lot of times it's a clash of culture when you go from high school to high major Division I, and you're not used to when coach calls huddle, bring it in, blows the whistle. You have to sprint in. You can't walk over. When he calls a timeout, you have to sprint to the timeout. You can't walk over.
Right.
You know, I mean, at North Carolina, when you're warming up and you want to go to the back, the locker room for something, you're not allowed to walk. You have to full speed sprint to the back. You know, so those are culture changes. That's a culture shock to some kids that maybe they need a little bit earlier for them to be more successful later on. Because when we're getting guys like what's the kid played for Dallas? Luka comes in and he's 19 years old and he's shocking the world.
Well, he's been playing.
Since he was 14.
Right.
He's been a pro
I
playing
think-
against men.
I think when we start talking about those prep schools, the problem has been for all the good ones we talk about, there have been a lot of failures.
Man, a lot of bad ones.
A
Yeah.
lot of bad ones where there's
schools are
nothing
good.
going
A lot of
on.
one
There's
and
no
dones.
core. There's no core work going done.
Well, you
There's no
can't-
schooling.
You
And
can't go to somebody's house and say this is a prep school.
we
Somebody's
understand this.
I think that's the
But
thing with this show.
they've
Yeah,
popped
we get it.
up so many.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
So
every
many
year
so
you hear
fast.
about another one.
Yeah.
You gotta have a facility.
And it's
You gotta be legit.
and it's prep schools with good kids. Like I don't know, and I'm speaking on something that I don't know the whole situation of what happened. All I know is that Lincoln was here, and now they're not. And I don't know. I don't know what happened with those kids. I'm asking questions.
They had money
Right.
behind them, but I don't think the leadership was where it should have been. I don't think that it was a group that was connected to our state. You know, I mean, how many coaches trusted them? You know, I don't know who was the head guy. I know a couple guys who were pieces, but I don't know you. I'm not sending my kid there to you. I don't know you.
Has
So
to,
there
has to be a
trust.
trust. Has to be a trust factor.
And that was my thing with going to sit with Core 4. Like, I just wanted to see. And I verbalized that to them, like, hey, man, like, I'm not necessarily taking shots at y'all, on the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
What I want to know is that, and I won't even call out no names, we've seen guys that go to certain prep schools or certain academies, and then their transcripts are shot, right? It's all about just making sure that the kids are protected. If they're cool and the grades are cool and those courses transfer over, like everybody's talking about, oh, yeah, we got the online joints and blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
man,
Okay,
move
cool. If you can help a kid get to the next level and they're going to academically be okay, right? I'm good. But
Lastly,
it is different.
yeah,
You gotta be.
Lastly, and I'll let you get to your
Gotta
point,
be
is that, another thing that we can't sugarcoat stuff if we're gonna do this podcast and the jumping from high school to prep back to high school or prep to high school has now become an issue in GHSA.
Yep.
And it started with football. So this is not a basketball thing.
thing,
It started
yeah.
with football,
Yeah.
which was called the IMG rule. And it's now affecting basketball, and we don't know the end result of it yet.
It's important.
So I'll just leave that there.
want kids to be able, like,
Be
you just want
eligible.
kids to be able to continue to
Be
play.
able to
If,
play,
if
yeah.
a kid messes up his own business, then I can't hold a school accountable for that. But, you know, kids are finding themselves in different situations. So parents, as always, what we say, we have information here. We're telling you about things that are available. Go do your research.
I'm holding the parents responsible.
Go do your
Your
research.
child, and it's something that I've noticed over the past 10 years here in the state of Georgia and all around the country, is you have parents who think they know what they're doing and they don't. And I want to apologize when I say this. Most of you don't know what you're doing. The right thing to do when your child is being recruited is that you need to have, if he's playing for a high level AAU program and you have a college coach coming in and he's really pitching you something, your AAU coach or the director for your AAU program needs to be in the room with you. You know why? Because if I'm a school that doesn't necessarily recruit in the state of Georgia, if I get this kid from Georgia, I came in the middle of the night and stole something.
Yeah.
And there are no repercussions.
Yeah.
Now, that AAU coach is going to say, oh, you'll never get another player from my program. And I'm going to let every other program that I'm connected to that you're never going to get a player from us. But when you do it alone as a parent, unless you got 4 other kids lined up year to year to year coming behind them, they owe you nothing.
Yeah.
They will screw your kid over. If he doesn't come in and be Superman automatically, I won't play him. And guess what I'll do? It's not that I'm going to take his scholarship away. I won't talk to your son. I won't talk to him. Like, literally, I won't talk to him. He will not be able to meet with the head coach. You can complain to the assistant coaches all you want to, because unless you know this, head coaches don't take calls during the season. And most parents don't know this or understand this. So they can sit there and say, well, that man promised me he would do X, Y, Z for my child, but now the season he's not playing. You can't call him.
The relationship with that
Yeah.
parent is with the assistant.
Assistant
The
coach.
assistant, yep.
And then as an assistant coach, you're taking your lead from the head
Right.
coach.
Yeah.
Who's saying, excuse my language, but F them.
I mean, prime
Kid
example. They
sucks.
say,
It
please-
didn't work.
I mean, Mark, let's be honest. That assistant coach will probably get the conversation that the head coach says, hey, man, you need to tell them to stop calling you and calling me. Plain and simple.
Yeah, that's a reality. That's a reality that people don't understand. It's better if you go in, and we're not saying, or I'm not saying that your AAU director or your high school coach is going to make the decision in which that child is going to that school or not. What we are saying is,
need to be involved.
you are not just recruiting my son; you're recruiting us all. If you lie to us, your word means nothing anymore, and we will make sure that you don't get any kids from this area anymore, and not enough parents do it. So now the transfer rate is high. What is it, 900 kids a year?
Yeah.
900 high-level Division I kids are transferring because they're not happy. Well, expectations weren't met.
Right.
You went to a school where they said they would develop you. Okay, who's the person that develops guys on staff? Let me see your development. Let me see what guys, let me talk to these, like, there's so much that a parent doesn't know, and it's not their fault. They might have even played Division I basketball or NBA basketball, but guess what? Times have changed.
Yeah.
And unless you're in the current know of things like we are, like we have those behind closed door conversations that we can't share with the public.
Yeah.
We can't. You know, if we do, like, you'll never get them again.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. Oh, I can't talk to him. He telling.
He gonna spill it. He gonna spill it. Yeah.
Ooh, I know what happened. We can't do that. So the best we can do is, you know, give it to you live and direct right here. Like, you guys have to incorporate your high school coaches and your AAU coaches together in the meeting. It can't be, oh, well, I don't want to talk in front of them.
Right.
Yes, you do. And you're going to. Or you're not recruiting my kid. Because that's the family right there.
Don't set up to meet, and one or the other don't know that you're doing it.
Exactly. We've actually, one of my OGs and I, and a bunch of other guys, we had a situation where a school that we won't name, it was in Ohio though, they came out here, they scouted some kids on the AAU circuit, and when the live period came where they can come into the high schools, they came to town and went and saw 3 different kids, but did not let the AAU coach know that they were coming in town to visit these kids. Now, the AAU coach is one that created the opportunity for the coach to recruit them, gave them parents' numbers, so on and so forth, and they did not alert them, hey, I'm coming to town. Hey, let's catch up. I'm going to meet with such and such. Out of respect, you do this. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't come and try to date somebody's daughter and not get met by the father at the front door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that school didn't get a player from the state of Georgia in almost 10 years.
Dang.
You know? But as parents, if you allow these coaches to come into your home and lie to you and just tell you whatever, their job is to recruit you.
Yep.
It's like a used car salesman.
Sales pitch,
One year I bought a car and I said, do you guys plan on changing the body style of this car in the next couple years?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, this is brand new. We good for another 3-4 years. Because I don't want to buy something brand new and then a couple months later somebody busts out next to me with the new. Looking at me like,
you got the old stuff.
Yeah.
I just paid brand new money for this car.
Yeah.
So you know what I did? I cussed out the head of the own dealership, the whole 9 yards, and damn near dropped that car off at their front door. You know? So, but I should have did more homework. I should have spoke to my car guy and said, hey, what's the deal with this?
Yeah.
That was my fault. Never happened again. So as parents, these kids ain't cars. You know? These are commodities. This is your flesh and blood. And you have to do a better job of incorporating your family, which is your AAU coach, your high school coach.
Your trainer.
Even if you don't like the high school coach, the trainer, like me, I have a lot of influence. I can scroll down my list of names on my phone, and it's a couple hundred college coaches in there, some NBA guys, a lot of stuff in there. You know, I can help. I'm still not gonna tell you what school to go to. I'm gonna tell you what school I love and what I like, and why I like and love them, but it's gonna be the parents' decision. But at least if they get all the information that we're able to deliver to them, they can make a better educated decision.
One of your kids ever committed, and then your head just automatically dropped like.
Yeah, because that's
I didn't know if he was gonna say it. Okay,
that's happened,
cool.
all this
Okay, cool.
happened.
Yeah.
And
I think
And
with
that
anybody that's
situation
had,
failed.
I
Like,
think with
man,
anybody
I
that's
told
had-
him not to go there.
Anybody that's had a kid, you go, really? Like,
Okay, cool.
You didn't call me before you did this?
or didn't I tell you?
Yeah.
I didn't.
You only visited one school?
Yeah. That's frustrating part right there.
You know, that happens. But at the end of the day, I try to tell these parents, if you don't listen to me, I'm gonna just put out my disclaimer. The one thing they're never gonna stop making is kids. So I'm gonna have to tell somebody else what I tried to tell you, and maybe they'll listen. But these college coaches look at it the same way. They're never gonna stop making elite kids. If you don't
Yep.
pan out, I'm gonna stop talking to you to the point where you transfer, and I'm gonna get that other elite kid to come in. And when that elite kid is visiting, you will not be part of that visit.
Dang.
This is business.
It is.
It's multi-million-dollar
They'll be
business.
reading books at the elementary school for kids on the elite prospect.
Yeah, elite prospect is at your position. At your position, he's visiting.
And you are at
He's
the elementary
across
school.
town. And he's not going out that night with him. I'm telling the captain, keep him away from him.
Okay.
Matter of fact, set him up with that cheerleader. Keep him quiet over there.
Got you.
It's a business.
Got you.
It's a business.
Got you. So, hey, while we close this JUCO topic, listen, for everybody that played in Corey Black event, go check the Love of the Game Twitter page, check our IG page, check the YouTube page. There'll be highlights up, breakdowns of games on our YouTube page.
Breakdowns.
Love of the Game podcast. Go to our YouTube page. Also, like, subscribe, set your notifications on. Every event that we attend, there will be highlights of every game moving forward. So go show us some love. Go like it. If you want to see highlights from the JUCO camp this weekend, there'll be highlights there from both camps. So
And Mondre, you do some good breakdowns. The one you did with Middle Georgia Prep versus TSF, I really enjoyed that.
I try. Hey, and Ashton Malone, dog, I do not have anything against you. People saying I was trying to, like, bro, fam, that's just what was on the tape for that game. He's at TSF. He's at TSF.
Hey, DJ Patrick did look good for TSF.
DJ Pat. Man, I like DJ. I like DJ.
What you say? What you say, Mark?
Monster Lab. I got something in my throat. Monster Lab.
I like DJ
See,
Patrick.
now I wish Bryce was here. Now I wish my boy Bryce.
he be
Shout out, Bryce. Shout out, Bryce.
Monster Lab vacation.
Georgia.
Hey, so we gotta move down the line here. USA basketball mini camp happened. We had kids that participated. I was not there. Mark, I know you connected. Were you there?
I was there in spirit.
You were there in spirit.
a lot of
Okay.
feedback.
We got a connected guy also in the studio who was there, so maybe we'll get a readout on how that happened. But congratulations, I do want to say congratulations to Matt Cleveland, Jabari Smith, Scoot Henderson, Dylan Hunter. I heard good things, but I wasn't there, so I don't know. I can't speak on that. McDonald's All-Americans. I feel like it's an annual thing now that we got multiple McDonald's All-Americans. Shout out to Isaac Okoro who got robbed, but that's another topic for another day.
Someone in Georgia gets robbed every year.
Every year. I said that about Chuma.
Chuma, yeah.
Robbery. But I'm not gonna go there. I'll
Go there.
let Mark go there.
but you
I'm gonna let Mark go there. I'm gonna let Mark go there. Load up. Hey, load this thing up. So I feel like we're gonna get two. I feel like we're gonna get Sharif as a McDonald's. I feel like we're gonna get Walker Kessler as a McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's just gonna happen no matter what. Will we get a third? And Mark, I got a feeling, I don't know if you're so certain that we're gonna get two. But I'll open it up to y'all. Let's go. Will we get a third?
If we do, I think it's going to be Dewan Odom.
I feel that would be my choice if it happens.
If it happens.
But I think it's going to be.
What would he have to do?
In all honesty, let's keep this 100.
Yeah.
To be a McDonald's All-American, no disrespect. I love you doing. I love where you're going. You can't go to. They have a look that they're looking for, and Xavier ain't the look they're looking for. I hate to say it like that, and I love what Dewan is about. It is what it is. I mean, let's go. Go through the years of McDonald's All-Americans. Let's talk. And he could be, and we know how good he is.
Really good.
Everybody
It don't
knows how
matter,
good I
man.
think he is.
We're getting
I feel
3.
it.
Okay.
But that's not the one we're talking about, right?
No, that's not the one we're talking
That's what I'm
about.
saying.
So
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's get to it.
this.
We're getting
Hold
3.
on now, BJ Boston is a Georgia boy, man. Y'all gotta stop playing.
I'm not
But we
counting. I'm not
understand
counting.
that.
BJ. I'm not counting.
He's Cali
I'm not
on
counting
loan.
BJ.
We understand
He's
that.
being leased.
But when they say McDonald's All-American, it's not gonna say Norcross. It's not gonna say
And I do
Norcross.
Double trouble training,
It's not gonna say Georgia.
because I trained double trouble training, so that means I trained BJ Boston too.
You one of them guys.
Trainers.
You
I
a
trained
tree guy.
He's a tree guy. He's a tree guy.
I trained your trainers. I trained you.
By proxy.
Let's do this. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
I've said BJ Boston was my favorite player
McDonald's
for a
competed
long
with
time,
Dallas.
but
And we're not saying
We
he's
don't
not.
disagree with
the
that.
problem is when they say list his name, it's not gonna say Norcross.
it's not gonna say
Okay,
Georgia.
so you
It should, though.
Keep it 100, 100,000.
Let's go.
All right, so now Dewan Odom, I think with him going to Xavier, I'm not sure if Xavier, the University of Xavier, has the cachet and the people behind them that are, garnering, putting together those votes. Now, we all know the McDonald's game. We all know that the Jordan Brand game, those are political events.
Yeah.
If you're outside the top 10. Actually, if you're outside the top 5, everything else becomes political. It has to do what school you go to. The Jordan game is an Adidas event. Let's not act like Adidas doesn't get 1 or 2 kids in to
They
that
do.
event. Jordan Brand is an all Nike event. Let's not act like Nike doesn't have a say so. Also, what people have to remember is the Jordan game, the footage is owned by ESPN, owned by Disney. So that ESPN list needs to correlate with what's on the court. So there's a lot of political things going on that people don't take into consideration. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm not spilling the beans here. I'm just telling you things to think about. I can't say they're facts. I can say they're things that we must consider when asking, will this kid make McDonald's? If you go to Duke and you're ranked number 40th in the country, Do you have a chance to play in a McDonald's game? Yes, you do.
Yes, you do, yeah.
If you go to Xavier and rank number 40th in the country, who has a better chance?
Duke kid.
The Duke kid.
Why is
You're better
that?
than a Duke kid or not.
Okay, exactly. But why is that? It's because of the political aspect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it is no knock to Xavier. I love Xavier. I had a client there that I went to, 4 or 5 years ago and worked them out. Great facility, great campus, great coaching, great city for basketball. But they might not have the cachet. Now, if they pull it off, they pulled in a favor.
Yeah.
People don't want to just talk about the fact that nepotism and favorites, and if you have a favorite, that plays a part in our everyday lives, in everything that goes on.
So
Let's be clear.
I want to make sure what we're saying here. Right now, we're saying that it doesn't even matter what DeJuan Oldham or Davion Smith or JT Thor, what they actually do on the floor, that this high school season won't get them there no matter what.
I know it.
It depends.
Yeah,
Depends.
I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna go
Because
that
I knew
far.
at one time MJ Walker wasn't, a validated McDonald's, but then he went down to the City of Palms and gave John Petty work, gave him 45. And so
Got him in.
If you had a big, if you do your thing,
I think the
DeJuan-
last voting is done right after City of Palms.
Yeah.
So by the time they get to what's the one in Jan? Hoop Hall.
Yeah.
I think the vote is already done.
Done, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But it does also. There are kids who are already solidified.
Oh, yeah, most
already.
definitely.
So now it's about finding those other guys. So if there's a matchup, or if we see in some high-level events that guys play really well,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna be like, I'm gonna get him in. And let's be clear, they're not gonna put out the list of McDonald's voters because you know why? Because we're gonna question it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, most
I know
definitely.
who guys are. A few guys know who's on the list because it's been revealed before. But there are guys on the list who don't actively attend games.
James, yeah.
So how are you voting? So that means that someone is vying for your vote. And that
Yeah.
guy could be from Kentucky, he could be from Oregon, he could be from North Carolina.
Hey, you could be from Atlanta.
They want those kids. You know what I'm saying? Well, the universities.
Yeah,
University. You know what I'm saying? So it is political, but at the end of the day, it's not the end all be all. And that's the thing that the kids have to realize. Once you get to college, it starts from scratch.
Stretch, yep.
So
all
if
over, you got to prove yourself all
that's
over
right.
again.
And now the NBA is looking for a specific type of athletes. We want guys who are long. They measure your hands
How big your hands are.
because they want you to be able to do something called big handing, where I can dribble the ball and just pick it up off the dribble and go right into my shot, which Julius Erving, Connie Hawkins, Michael
Yeah,
Jordan,
used to do that,
he
yeah.
dunked on a lot of people because he can just go like this and dunk on you, where some guys have to bounce it, gather it with two
Yeah,
hands, then cock it back and swing.
And it's funny you say that because I was watching, Kobe has this thing, had Mindset of a Winner, this little thing that's on YouTube. And he
I
said
saw that.
he had
Yeah.
to strengthen his hands.
Hands, yeah.
That's right.
So he could get strong because he didn't have the biggest hands as everybody else. So he had to strengthen them so he could do the palming and be able to grab, like Mark just said, the ball right off the dribble, right into your shot.
John Stockton had some of the biggest hands you'll ever see. Look at a picture of John Stockton's hands if he palming the basketball. His hands almost go around the basketball. So when he threw those one-handed passes on the fast break, that wasn't luck. That was just natural for him. So if you can show that you have those tangible things
yeah.
that the NBA is looking for, you'll get drafted. And especially in those first 10 games. In those first 10 games, if you are an NBA potential guy, you got 10 games to prove it. Because guess what? It's been proven. 9, 10 games, 5, 6 games. If your synergy is excellent in all categories, total offensively, and you have the measurables, we're going to draft you. Because you have guys who will play 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, sit out, and go lottery. The NBA is willing to say this. Now, that's another subject. What's going to happen when guys start figuring out? Man, I really just have to play till December. If I'm the number one pick, and I'm not putting Huff.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not even gonna do that. That's my man. That's my partner. That's my man. Okay. I didn't believe in Huff at first.
He tells the
Huff
truth.
proved me to be that dude. at St. Francis. I hadn't met him yet, but when Damon was like, we're gonna send our kids to St. Francis, I'm like, who? Where? And he proved me, I can do this. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
People don't know how we met. Years ago, I put out a challenge on Twitter. I was like, yo, I'm the best trainer in the world.
Yeah, I remember that.
If you don't believe me, come to my workout and critique me. If I suck, if I'm overrated, if I'm big mouth, go on Twitter and say, man, he ain't that good. He all right. He light. He don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm unsubscribing now. Unfollow. He came and he signed his son up for workouts. He said, man, I'm bringing my child back here. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
So I'm not just talking from just whatever. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Your son goes to college. He's averaging 27 a game, 8 assists.
Thank you, Jesus.
Tweaks his
Hey, let's stop. Number one. Thank you,
tweaks
Jesus.
his ankle. December 15th. Tweak. That means he got to tape it. That's all. That's all a tweak means. You got to tape it.
We doing
Is
the
he
Ky-
playing the rest of the year?
We doing the Kyrie, dog. We doing the.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That's up to him, man. That's up to my.
But that's
So the question is that what is
For the
also
chance to play in the NCAA tournament, man, that's still me.
crazy. I'm done. You crazy. This is about money.
I come from a college town, Mark. Like that still means something.
It's a real question because it's now. I know we talking different sports. It's happening in the NFL where guys, college, they're not playing in the bowl game. Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette,
Yeah.
like they just played
they
each other
were not-
last week.
they were not
and
penalized.
they talked to each other about why they didn't want to do it.
If I was playing football, there would be no question. 100%.
Basketball the same thing now.
Basketball, you are still taking chances, but man, God.
Darius Garland.
The NCAA tournament.
Man, Final Fours in Atlanta, dog. Come on, DeJuan.
You gonna sit there?
Come on, DeJuan. I'm trying to see you play.
That doesn't make the McDonald's game. If I'm a JT Thor, if I'm a DeJuan Odom, if I'm a Davion Smith, do I risk it? Because guess what? I have nothing to lose. I have everything to gain. Well, actually, I have everything to lose.
So
at this point,
I lightweight said that about Sharif. Even being a McDonald's guy, I feel like he has so many accolades already stacked onto
If
his
I'm
name.
Sharif,
Like,
why
am I playing high school basketball this year for? Like,
he's playing because he wants
For
to
Powder
go through-
Springs?
He wants to go through the process. Is what normally he does. He wants to be a
Right.
McDonald's All-American. He wants to be a Jordan Brand All-American.
Mm-hmm.
He really, really, really wanted to be a part of USA basketball. You know, he wants that. He wants to have. His sister did it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I've been in the house. You know, so I don't know what the new house looked like. I was out of town when they did the, you know. I was out of town, bro. I got the invite, but I was working, bro. I had to get that NBA money. Sorry. You know, when they had the housewarming. So I know what the old house, the basement is amazing. You know, my man Coop does an amazing job with highlighting how much he cares about his family.
Yeah.
So the trophies, the pictures, the accolades, you know, Taya has, whoo, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Sharif wants that,
Yeah.
you know. Every young man
He's a
wants
lot.
his father's approval,
He's a
you
lot.
know, and he also wants to do, my sister did it. She did McDonald's. She got MVP of McDonald's, as a matter of fact, at the McDonald's game. You know what I'm saying? So Sharif wants to do the same thing his
Same
big
thing,
sister
yeah.
did. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having a legacy of saying I was McDonald's All-American, so on and so forth. But if I'm not a McDonald's All-American, I look at things differently. I don't have the marketing everybody else does. I'm at a smaller school. You know what I'm saying? Do I cut it short if I get a slight injury? That's now the psyche. This is what we're doing to these kids now by not including them in the McDonald's game. You know what I'm saying? What am I playing for? If I'm a potential pro and I don't pick McDonald's, I don't have the marketing behind me. If I get a small injury, I'm out. That's what you're creating here by saying these games mean so much. I've been around kids who didn't make the game, and I've had to console them as they cried, as they lost their minds. They couldn't believe it.
right.
And they were kids who are ranked within that, in that area. I'm top 25, I should be at McDonald's. But you had kids ranked number 40, that was McDonald's. Why? Went to a certain
Went
school.
to a certain school, yeah.
So I'm not, if I'm DeJuan Odom, if I'm Davion, if I'm JT Thor, I'm not mad if I don't make McDonald's. I'm working harder because I want to take advantage of this opportunity of starting from scratch. Because the NBA scouts are going to go to specific schools, they're to see guys, they're going to be at the games. Show me. Because those same guys who go to McDonald's, they still got to showcase.
Yep.
They still got to play college ball and show that they are deserving of a lottery pick or whatever. So it's all about basketball at the end of the day. These accolades are important because some guys want to leave a legacy and so forth, but it's about what you do when you get to that next level.
Yeah.
100%. Fellas, we're going to pause for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got Sean Williams in the house to discuss the Georgia All-Decade team. That's going to be the good one, man. Stay with us.
Oh, man.
Stay with us, man. We'll be right back.
Man, won't.
Keep rocking. It's your boy Mondre Allen, Love of the Game podcast. And, hey, man, we are back with the man himself.
The young OG.
The
Man,
young
the myth, the
OG.
legend.
The young OG.
Young pusher. Cheesecake.
We got Sean Williams rolling with us, man. For those who don't know, Sean is the owner of On the Radar Hoops. We talk about the importance of this man's platform probably every week in some way, form, or fashion. We talk about the importance of, hey, man, you can still get it done. You can still make it being an independent.
Yep.
His platform is primarily the reason for that. I know in this state that you can still make it as an independent. Does so
states.
much.
Florida,
A lot of states, yeah. Florida, all those guys, yeah.
Alabama, Florida, South Carolina.
Putting kids on the map, man. Giving kids a platform to show their talent and get recruited and get offered. 150 coaches on a regular lined up at the baseline of these events, man.
Yeah.
And you was able to do that.
And those picks he dropped are updated picks. When
Facts.
he dropped a coach.
Yeah,
It
he's
the
right.
facts. It don't be coaches.
Ain't no Photoshop. Sean ain't Photoshopping coaches in seats.
Nah, it's some dudes in the industry that use, old picks, but our stuff is valid and it's spot on.
Yeah. He ain't got Ben Fletcher in the Troy.
So, man, we got a lot to talk about. Definitely great having you on again for our first time. This is your first time meeting Sean. Sean has been on the podcast before. It's definitely somebody that we want to give every great Atlanta basketball person they flowers while they here. And not wait until, something happens to tell them how much we appreciate what they do. So Sean's been on before. Great to have him back. You put out this list
Oh, boy.
for this all-decade team, and I thought it was a great idea. But if I think it's a good idea, then maybe you're going to expect to catch a lot of heat from it, man.
He started a firestorm. Let's see. When did the decade start?
Oh my goodness!
When did it end?
I have never heard so much conversation about what
Started,
years is. Yeah.
Wait a minute, this team out of this state would beat this team. Like, it was so many conversations going on just from this one thing.
We really had a conversation about what is a decade really? What does that really mean?
Yeah,
it was wild.
Crazy. It was crazy.
So I want to start here. Before we announce the players that's on it, what was the inspiration behind it? What were you thinking behind it? And then who kind of had a part to play? Was it just you or how many people had a part to play?
So it was several people. I was just thinking, like, man, we've had some really good players come through Atlanta, but also, like, throughout Georgia. So I started thinking, and I called Mark, I called Horace, I called Matt the mayor, and I called Kerry Willis.
Yep.
So I said, man, let's put together this of, you know, guys who've made the biggest splash in Georgia, high school, college, and, you know, we actually got to the NBA. And when we started going through the list, like, we've had some really, really good players, like, right, that's playing and that played over the past 10 years. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go from 10 years. To me, 10 years from today is 2009. So I'm, you know, like, I'm not gonna be political with it. Like, this is just the idea, and I said, look, 10 years, 2009. So we'll go from when you graduated in 2009 to when you graduate 2019.
Yeah.
That's
Makes
the 10-year span, right?
10-year span.
So it's like going through the list, like, obviously, like, you know, you got, you know, that comes to mind when you think Georgia high school basketball, right? Recently, Anthony Edwards,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Colin Sexton, like, his
Yes.
surge into the national scene was something that's crazy. He went from
Yeah, that was unheard of.
being unranked to a top 5 dude in 18 months, shattered the EYBL scoring record, right? But then for people who haven't been around as long, like Tony Parker, won 4 state championships.
Yeah.
Right, he won 4 state championships, won 2 gold medals
Yeah.
with
He was
USA
a hot
basketball.
name. Like, everybody knew who Tony Parker
Right,
was.
so Tony Parker was the guy, and he was a McDonald's All-American and Jordan brand,
brand,
right?
yep.
For those watching who may not know, we are not talking about the dude from France right now.
Right.
San Antonio. point guard.
Another Tony Parker.
So, you know, I put the list together. I said, look, here are the guys. So like I said, I was on the 3-way with Horace and Mark, and I said, man, you know, y'all let me know what y'all think. Are these guys worthy of being on that spot? In which the list was, we had Derek Favors, Jaylen Brown, Contavious Caldwell Pope, Anthony Edwards, and we had Colin Sexton, right?
And probably your most contentious pick, I'd probably say 1A and 1B, was KCP. And I think was because a lot of people didn't get to see him.
But, like, whose fault is that?
It's not that. Greg Moultrie is my witness. He was the head coach at Callaway High School. Drew Catlin and I are driving because we've got to play Callaway High School, and we've got to drive to see Greenville versus Callaway.
Right.
At Greenville. And we're driving. Drew Catlin, we about to run over, I don't know what kind of animal this is in the street. And we get to this gym, and it is, there's a line. And Greg had told me, like, there's this kid down there, man, he's good. Bruh.
Hey, you know it's about to jump off when somebody hits you and be like, bruh.
Like, you had to see it. Like, you had to see him in high school to understand
Or with the
how
Georgia
good.
Blazers.
Yeah, or how good he was.
yeah,
How
he was
good he
good.
was. Like, so I don't have a problem with it. I think other people got mad at Derek Favors. What era did he fall in?
He graduated in 2009. So
did, yep.
Then with KCP, people say, well, he didn't do. I said, he averaged 31 points, 9 rebounds. And what people don't understand, when has there ever been a shoe team outside of Atlanta? He had a shoe team in Columbus, Georgia.
In Columbus, Georgia, yep.
Right? So, like, he solely got a shoe team. And how many times have there been a McDonald's All-American that has been outside of Metro Atlanta?
Not many. Rich Perry laid us
Like,
away.
I mean,
you're
really,
right,
like, so what people don't understand, like, what he brought to
the state,
Columbus and like, nationally, like, now all the shoe teams are based in major cities.
Yeah.
They're not based in, and I don't even know if Columbus could be considered secondary because I would consider Macon probably
Macon.
the
Macon
next-
and Savannah.
Macon and
Yeah, Macon,
Savannah.
Savannah,
So
yeah.
we're talking about a small market,
Yeah.
but he had a shoe team there, and he was a McDonald's All-American.
Yeah.
Jordan Brand went to Georgia, and he was still, drafted. He was a top 10 pick.
Yeah. Corey Black was on that coaching staff too with Georgia Blazers.
Sure was.
Yep.
So a lot of people say something,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, it's cool because y'all went around 10 years
10
ago.
years ago,
so
yeah.
you don't remember.
You don't remember,
But
yeah.
like, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
Do your research. So, man, the feedback was crazy, man. I think
Oh yeah, you went viral.
a lot of people were really upset, and they had their own opinions, which is cool. But I thought it was good. It was just good conversation because I seen Texas made their
Texas,
team,
New York
Florida
did one.
made a
Florida
team,
made a
New
team.
York, California. So it was just a good topic of conversation.
So if there were guys or if there was a second team, 'cause
Would there be a second team?
Yeah, would there be a second
Will you
team?
do a second team?
Or just give us
We gotta
guys-
have it. We
give
gotta
us
have
guys that didn't make the first team, but like so people understand like this thing was tough. You trying to find guys like because there are dudes like the reason
Still
this
dudes
thing
that
got
can play.
going because we could name off other dudes like shit.
There's a lot of dudes you can name.
I mean, it's a lot of dudes, and like I think I probably got hit the most about Sharif Cooper, right? Like he has every single accolade, and like like now, like he's one of those kids that I think younger kids are kind of modeling their game after.
Yeah.
Like with Colin, with Young Bull, right? Like I think that was a whole movement.
yeah.
Now you see on Instagram, every kid has Young Bull after them.
Yep.
Right, so like that was one thing. Now with Sharif, I think a lot of kids are starting to do like his hair.
Hair, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like they're modeling his hair. He has like 500,000 Instagram followers.
Followers, yeah.
Now he has the accolades, winning Mr. Georgia basketball, Max Prep Player of the Year. He
Yeah.
has a lot of accolades. So that was a tough one, right? Because like he has everything.
But
Still playing though.
But he's
Yeah,
still
he's still
playing. I
playing.
think that
He's
was.
still playing.
I think
That's
that
big.
gives you
Yeah.
an out. Like he's
Outlet,
still playing.
yeah.
Still, his career hasn't officially ended. So I
Sorry,
would
Big
recommend
Coop. He's still playing.
Right? yeah. So
certainly would deserve to be.
No, yeah,
on
without
the
a
list,
doubt.
but he's still playing.
Now I think like Huff, he got two guys that were really good, Malik Beasley and Kobe Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like those dudes were really good in their time.
I started the first couple names I thought of were guys that and I didn't remember what year they graduated and all that stuff. The first name, I was like, yo, Ryan Harrell was different. I was like, yo, Ryan Harrell different. Like ignorant. Now I couldn't make the argument that he should have been on the first team, but I'm just talking about names that immediately popped into my head. Like as far as on that caliber, right? And it's crazy to say this dude on the same caliber as those guys when all those guys are pros, minus Anthony Edwards, who might be the daggone
First draft.
2K created player, right? Like when I create players on 2K, I create dudes that look like Ant-Man or play like Ant-Man. So
He just named him Mundre.
right, right. Look. Hey, I named him Dewan to be serious. All my 2K creative players are named after Dewan. Right. So I thought about a guy like Ryan Harrell. Of course, I thought about Lou Will, but I know Lou Will because Dewan was a baby, so I knew Lou Will was outside of that range.
Yeah.
Right, Malcolm Brogdon, guys like that.
Brogdon was really good.
Yeah.
Had a really good run with the Georgia Stars. I don't think a lot of people gave him credit because he played at GAC, but he won, 2 state titles.
Yeah. Yeah. I had MJ Walker.
MJ Walker was a Knight. He was really, really good in high school.
He nice. That's just, but it's tough to put MJ Walker to me in that
That just because
first team
guys,
caliber.
yeah.
Like them dudes, man. Like
Like another dude that was
not hating on MJ. I love that
that
dude.
was good. I'm trying to remember what era though. Like what did he graduate? Was the kid that played at Georgia Tech that went to North Clayton?
Marcus
Marcus
Hunt.
Marcus Hunt.
Marcus
Marcus
Hunt.
Hunt.
kid, right?
2012.
That was your first kid.
2012. Like Marcus Hunt was really good.
Yeah, he was
but,
really good.
Like I said, a political thing where he
Yeah.
was 50
Yeah.
went McDonald's All-American, but like he made it G League.
Yeah.
Had a run with
Man.
Minnesota with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like Marcus Hunt was really good.
Man,
It's
I
on.
think-
We talking about guys that to me were just electrifying too. Like I think box office plays a part in it.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
one of the biggest crowds that I've ever seen was Ant-Man versus Sharif.
Sharif, that first
Right.
game, man, Keaton.
Yeah, so that game was crazy.
Them tickets were high too.
Colin was bringing them out
Colin was bringing.
Yeah.
everywhere. It didn't matter what gym he played in, like it was packed out.
JB was different. Like
JB was
was
definitely
different,
different.
like-
JB was definitely
people don't.
different.
I don't think people really understand how he brought him out, and he didn't have like that overwhelming personality where he was doing something
yeah.
crazy.
Right,
He
yeah.
was just
Right.
You
just
coming to
get
watch a
stuff done.
hooper.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna overpower you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna dunk on you. I'm gonna get out in transition, and nobody is gonna jump with me. Like
But,
JB
like,
looked like a grown man in
to
high
see
school.
it surge like from with Game Elite, right?
Yeah.
Like that stuff started like he started
Yeah.
to take off
Yeah.
and he started to gain momentum. Then with Wheeler during the high school season, like his stuff went to his game went to another level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? His game went to another level. So like that list is just hard. Like it's hard to crack that certain list. Then Derek Favors, like
video game.
but
numbers,
like, how
dog.
many people really saw Derek Favors and DeMarcus Cousins, right? Like they played at Kennesaw when they played at Kennesaw State,
Yeah.
right? So like,
4 versus South Atlanta.
right?
Like people like
Man.
man, that South Atlanta
Yeah.
team.
How
And
was
I ain't
that?
even talking about the year they won it. I'm talking about the year they didn't win. Like they had dudes. Can't remember the point guard, but who was the kid that went to Auburn starting off? Andrew Malone. Right?
Malone.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they had him.
They had dudes.
They had what was the
boy.
other? They had the other dude who ended up going to Alabama first, Nick Jacobs.
Yeah.
Then who was the other like 6'8", 6'9", like kind of skinny
was a
with the
big-
Rhode Island, right? I
Yeah,
can't think of his name.
That
Like,
was a big team.
bro, they were playing 2-3 zone. All dudes could do was shoot threes.
Yeah, that was
Like,
a
what
big
could you
team.
do?
Derek Favors wasn't even playing the middle of the zone. He was playing like the wing position of the zone. Like,
That was a big
Hey, that's
team.
crazy. That
So I mean, it was good. Good conversation. Really good conversation. I thought it was really hard, but for second team, you still got guys like Al Tariq Gilbert, who was really
True,
good.
yeah, Al Tariq, yeah. So would that be a second team list?
we need one for the culture. We need one, man. Let them argue, man. We need a second. We need a second team.
I know Shun. He already got the list done.
Hey,
I know he got the list done with all the graphics.
here's where I feel like where to me, like this list should be a celebration of Georgia basketball, of our
basketball,
history, right? I'm not even gonna get into the fact of how many of these guys are currently in the Georgia Basketball Hall of Fame. Y'all know how I felt about that. We started our early shows with me griping about who was in the Georgia Basketball Hall of Fame because I want to start seeing people officially like
man, maybe that's what Shun should do.
Stamp
Create
and
a
sign,
on the radar,
seal, delivered.
on the radar hoops Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. We need a real Hall of Fame.
Like for real, like we got, and I know I'm a coach, and I ain't even talking. Like we got some coaching dudes out here
That should
that
be in it.
deserve some credit, bro. Like,
Hey, I started
know,
this podcast screaming that Eddie Martin, me and Locke were
Eddie
screaming Eddie
Martin,
Martin should be
Martin,
in the Hall of Fame, that Sherman White should be in the Hall of Fame.
you got
Like,
women's coaches on the
Right
Phyllis
now-
MacArthur. Like, come on.
Right now, if you're a basketball
Azar.
player, the only way you get into the Hall of Fame is that you have a big pro career. Like, I don't even understand what the criteria is for that Hall of Fame. I was big on it when we started our show early, and I kind of jumped off of it. People told me get off my
dude,
thing, but I hate it.
Is not in the Georgia Hall of Fame.
Antonio Wingfield is not
about,
in the
what
Georgia
about the
Basketball
Westover
Hall of
coach?
Fame. It's crazy.
I don't
Boston,
know,
like coach,
Yeah.
he won four.
He won
It's a robbery.
Great, like, come on.
Hey, we need the on the radar. We need the on the radar Hall of Fame for players and coaches. We need that, bro. Like if they're not gonna, I'll continue to write strongly worded emails
now,
to see if we could get guys
you
in the
know if he
official
do
Hall
that,
of Fame. But I want
There's
it.
gonna be some A&U coaches who want to get in the Hall of Fame because he does more high school, more
Look,
A&U
look.
than high school.
I would say this: AAU directors being in the Hall of Fame, sure. I don't know that I'm putting AAU coaches in the Hall of Fame.
I hope my boy Bryce hearing this.
AAU. I ain't hating no
pushing
Bryce.
for you,
Hey,
Bryce.
look. Hey, Bryce is a high school coach. Bryce still got time to get in. Bryce a future state champion himself, so he still got time to get in the Hall of Fame. But that would be my criteria, right? Players, AAU directors, high school coaches. We got to celebrate the culture, man. We got to celebrate these guys. To me, that's what it should be. Like, I came on the show as soon as I seen the list, and all I wanted to talk about was Colin versus Trayvon Duval in the daggone hoops giving. That game,
Man,
that game was incredible. That game was incredible. Like, I wanted to
That
come and
was good.
celebrate the culture.
Like
man.
that was really good. Like packed out wall
Yeah,
to
it was
wall.
packed wall to
You know, like I
wall.
think Chris Williams did a really good job.
Great job.
With Hoops Givings putting that matchup together
yeah.
at that time.
And I think that actually, and Chris can tell me if I'm wrong, I think that matchup, and then once it happened,
Right.
took Hoops Given to a different level.
Completely
Took
agree.
a different level.
Yes, sir. I just got a message saying Ashton Higgins. Hey, man, I love Ash.
Ashton.
I love Ash. I don't think he's in that class with those guys.
No.
But I love Ashton. And
like,
he would
another
get a
way-
vote from me for being in
Now,
the overall
Ashton
in
would've
the
played
underrated
one more
Hall of
year.
Fame. Ashton would get a vote.
He would have had a crazy senior season if he'd have played one more year. Because he didn't play all 4 years, did he?
No, he
I thought
did.
He did.
I thought he did.
He did?
I thought he did.
He did.
Yeah.
I don't think he played all 4 years. He played 3. He didn't play his senior year because he reclassified and
Said bye-bye.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
like-
so he didn't play all. So we judging him off 3 years. of
But
high
then, like,
school.
we didn't even mention Wendell Carter.
True.
Like,
That's true.
he's in the conversation,
Facts.
and
Yeah.
like he had a really good
True.
high school, AAU, and now like he's
Gonna be a good
you
pro,
know,
too.
like he's
Hey,
a
I saw
pro.
that dunk he did.
Gonna be a good pro. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so, and we didn't get a chance to talk about the NBA, but I gotta add the Chicago Bulls to one of my teams to watch. That backcourt with Kobe White and Zach LaVine. I gotta
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
I gotta add the baby Bulls to my watch list with the Sacramento Kings and
Yeah, Sacramento's mine.
and Orlando Magic are the teams that I'm watching the most. But along with this list, we got the Tip-Off Classic. So I
I need you
gotta
to
ask
speak
this.
freely too.
Sean, it doesn't seem like you have a lot of gray hair, so I feel like that the coaches are treating you well when it comes to putting this tip off together. Are they treating you well, Sean? When you put it together these matchups, man.
I mean, I thought it was good. I thought
Okay.
it was good. You
Now,
know,
this, this ain't the original schedule,
I said speak freely.
but it looks pretty good. This ain't the original
Has
schedule.
an event
Came
ever
out.
been thrown where the original schedules is what actually
Remember I
got
told
played?
y'all.
I don't think that happens.
Like a month ago. Some coaches won't smoke. Some coaches
some
don't want
some
smoke.
coaches don't. Like, you know, like we ain't. If I had it my way, now I'm gonna get it done. But for some people, they're not gonna play certain guys.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna play certain guys. It's early in the year. Like to
Yeah.
me, like who cares? Like
Yeah.
line them up and let's get it done.
Let's get it going.
What matchup you excited about?
You know what? It's two matchups, right? So one, man, Coach Moultrie been wearing me out. Yo, hey man, that's how
we doing.
been wearing me out.
Yeah.
Literally every single day. Yo, he want all the smoke.
He does.
He
want
want it.
McEachern out the gate. You know, and people they think I have a bias for Sharif and Zako. So they feel like, okay, well, these are like two of your guys' sons going against each other right? out the gate early in the year. But like I'm close with both of the families.
Yeah.
But man, Moultrie called me every day. Right now as it stands, East Coweta will play McEachern. But Moultrie texts me, put me in a group chat with Blue. Hey, look, yo, can we switch the game? Blue agreed. He wants to switch the game. So it's going to be McEachern versus
South
South
Cobb.
Cobb.
Yikes.
You know, and South Cobb got some pieces now.
Oh, they got
They got some pieces.
They
got
do.
some pieces. So I know.
And you do know that there's another reason Mochi wants that, because the last time McEachern didn't make the state, you know who put him out, right?
Oh,
South Cobb.
Hey, man, this is me. Moultrie's got a young team, right?
Yeah.
You've got
He got a
Zaka.
balance. He got a balance.
I mean, yeah, but the guys that you really like, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that
the
because
kid from Mississippi is a senior.
he's a senior. He's a
Who can
senior.
go?
Iman can go.
Iman-
Iman can play.
Iman-
I ain't
Iman is
gonna.
really good.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that when he got the stick, like he trying to go hit it. Yeah, he's not shying away
No,
from
he's
that
not
at
shying
all.
away.
He's not shying away. He's doing what I expect. I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not gonna say who because I
Go
don't
ahead
want.
and say it.
They always
Go ahead.
think I.
Go ahead and put it out there.
Look, I love Sandy Creek. I've been talking about Sandy Creek
Yeah,
since
yeah.
last year about how much I love Sandy Creek. Right? Since last season when I picked y'all to win state, I said y'all had one of the best teams I ever seen, that y'all were going to win state last year. How much I love Sandy Creek. When I saw South Cobb's schedule, that's the type of schedule that I expected to see from a team like Sandy Creek. One of the guys that I feel like is one of the best players here in Jabari Smith.
Yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
thought they had some, like, they got some smoke, though.
They do. I just,
He's trying to say it's not that South Cobb.
It's not that.
It's
when
not
I
that
looked at Greg Moultrie's schedule, I was like, God. like Moultrie ain't playing around,
They're
dog.
playing
Like,
Norcross, they playing Wheeler,
yep.
then they playing Pebblebrook and Grayson.
Them some good games.
Like, that's some good games.
Those some
like,
good.
you know.
For that to be a 4A school, playing against some 7A teams like that.
But they're just as good. Maybe it's my expectation that's off.
saying
I feel like they should. What school am I looking at that's like, yo, they way better than Sandy Creek? I'm not looking at anybody and saying that. To me,
You might need to get out more.
man, go win this thing. Go win. Hey, man, maybe I have too much faith in them. I love their team. I think they're really
Who else is
good.
in 4A? I'm really trying to.
Yeah, Woodward
I think they're
Academy.
really good.
Now, that's
Be good.
that's what it could come down to right there.
I would love to see that.
You can't forget about the teams in my area, in South Georgia, because
Man, they're gonna smoke those South Georgia teams.
Oh, disrespect.
Disrespect. Hey, look, let me out. Because look, every time I roll with somebody, I end up with my friend. Sandy Creek, do it for me this year.
hey,
Do it for me this year.
Oh, man.
Man,
Talking greasy.
Do it for me this year, Sandy Creek. I believe. Do you hear anybody else picking y'all to win state? Was anybody else picking them last year to win state? Sandy Creek, come on, dog. Let's get it done.
My boy
Let's get it done this
J-Mac
year.
is going to come through.
Let's get it done this year.
I'm
That's all saying.
convinced this could be the year.
Now I'll tell you a matchup. I can't wait to see West Side versus there.
yes.
Yes.
Robbie
Yes.
versus Kowalski. Like,
That's gonna
I don't
be-
know if there's a more competitive kid that I seen than like Robbie.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the thing I love about that kid, he comes to camp and he say, yo, put me on the worst team. Like, most kids want to play with like their friends so they can
yeah.
make highlights. Nah. Put me on the worst team. I want to go at that kid.
Yeah, and he's gonna
Right?
go at him.
And he gonna go
He's
at
gonna
them.
go at
Like, I love that kid. I love the passion
rolled
and
up
toughness,
shorts.
you know, that he plays with.
Short J High, John Stockton short.
Hey, but now like Kowalski, he's a kid that has really taken off. Like, he grew
yeah.
like 6 or 7
7
inches.
yeah.
Now he a kid that's not gonna back down. That's gonna go at him every single time down
Yeah.
the floor. So
Javion Mosley too.
Javion Mosley, like he's
Yeah.
another
He's
kid
gonna
that
be
doesn't
gold.
get talked about enough, but like he's a really good kid.
Yeah. And then I seen
Then
Roman
Roman
Son.
Son.
I seen him
Yeah.
today at camp at EYA Sports South Atlanta camp. He was giving people the business.
But then you got to go back to the
always
fact
does.
of how good defensively
True.
he
Yeah.
is. Like
Right.
he's a dog. Like he's a defensive dog.
I mean, so like that's
there
gonna
we
be
go.
a good matchup. But to me, the headliner of the night, Burkmore versus Grayson.
I was just about to
Like,
say,
yes.
yeah.
That is the
Let's go.
I mean,
that is the headline.
now,
yeah.
like I think like Joffrey has like to me, I think people picked him early on to have probably the best team with, you know, Tenari Lane, Davon, Caleb, Ian, Tajay, like
Yeah,
Tajay
yeah.
Kelly, like he has some really good pieces, right? Mm-hmm. But now Burkmore, they done loaded up.
Man, loaded.
Like Burkmore is a really talented team with
With
Malik,
size, yeah.
Jalen Deloach, the new transfer Elijah that's going to Rhode Island. Now I know that, I mean they got a secret weapon. I don't want to put it out there yet.
Oh,
It
man.
might not be official, but
Diesel.
Huff over there looking crazy. Like you got to keep your ear to the street now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, I was out the country for
Oh
a
man, they got a secret weapon over there. That we'll have to roll out at a later date.
wait,
and
is
time.
that kid? Okay, so I know what kid y'all talking about. I thought he was going somewhere else.
No,
I've
no,
heard
he-
3 different
he-
schools that kid is going to.
Oh, he enrolled.
Oh. What I told you, huh? I told you when you was on vacation.
Yeah, you did.
But I just think like, you know, that dynamic with both of them being in Gwinnett,
Yeah.
and like I think that's gonna
I think
be
that's gonna be a loaded, yeah.
that's gonna be a really good
7-8.
game. That 7-8 is gonna be tough.
You gonna have some early round matchups
Matchups,
to the second
yeah.
round. That's going.
Wow, Love of the Game will be there in full effect. Highlights will be on the Love of the Game YouTube, film breakdown. Hey man, we going all out for your event. We talking about interviews with coaches prior to the event, that will air just prior to the event. Interviews with players, like we going all out.
Get it done.
We
Yeah,
going
let's get
all
it
out
done.
for your event, dog. All out.
And then even at the event, like you just got other teams that have, whether it's their team or they've got guys like, I'm looking here and like Pembroke is so deep.
Yeah.
How can we forget? I mean, like what George done with that junior class
Yes,
over
That
there.
2021 class
There's
over there.
20 guys that can start varsity for
Every time I
somebody.
talk to a
There's
college coach,
20 guys.
Can you tell me about this guy? I'm like,
Hey, so look, I don't know if this kid is gonna be ready to play for Georgia this year or not. But Niles is really, really good.
Yeah, Niles.
Like Niles good, bro.
He's been good for a while too, though. But
Yeah.
now I think he's starting to put it together.
Yeah.
so like that's gonna be a challenge for Eugene Brown, son and dad.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
very.
So
But
that's
like,
It's gonna be rough.
they're so deep with Danny Stubbs, Tyler Shirley,
Shirley,
Caleb
Caleb
Washington, and
Washington.
seeing his stuff take off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now a kid that I don't think enough people talk about, Blake Hadley. Like to
Yeah.
me,
Blake,
you're
yeah.
6'7",
Yeah.
mobile,
big,
athletic,
yeah.
Jamal
rebounds.
Price, like
He got some dudes over
Yeah.
there. Like, I mean, like who has the best team in 7A, right? Like who has the best team in 7A?
I think this is gonna be a yearly conversation this year. Like a lot of years we said, all right, here are 2, 3, 4 teams, and we knew those were like
Right.
this year
It's hard.
like even though they not, and I know they not in your event, like we ain't talked about Milton. That's not in your event. We ain't talked about Wheeler, who got some young dudes.
Right.
Like,
Talk about East
we
Cal
ain't-
Wheeler.
East Cal Wheeler, who is in your event.
Right.
Yeah.
Young blood.
Yeah.
So like that 7A is just
It's
Man.
it's
Hey,
from
man,
top to
I
bottom.
feel like this season, and I've been saying this too, I feel like this season is gonna be the most fun I've had watching basketball in a long time because everything. I feel like the NBA is wide open. I feel like high school's wide open. Like I feel like we're about to have a lot of fun this year. I think. So outside of that, you released this this On the Radar Hoops Battleground, the run for the cup. Man, tell us a little bit about that.
Like over the past couple of years, I think a lot of teams, like it's getting now, like guys are starting to play early and earlier, right? With the younger kids, like Made Hoops, Chad Babel has done a great job of putting together events and,
great events.
marketing and providing kids with exposure. Like it's all based in the Northeast. So a lot of teams and a lot of AAU coaches say, hey man, like our guys aren't playing anybody throughout the year. We're not getting any exposure. Like we want to play high level teams throughout the year. So Battleground, we're gonna put kids on that platform, exposure, really good teams, elite competition, and we're gonna make it a circuit where we go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee in January. We'll go to Daytona Beach in February. And then we'll finish up, obviously, like in Atlanta. So, Battleground, put it together so we can see the stars of tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah.
For sure. Love of the game will be in attendance at the finals. Finals are in Atlanta. I would make the Daytona trip. That's a fun. I took my AAU team down there this summer.
Daytona was cool.
It
Yeah,
was
Daytona
amazing.
Daytona's real fun.
The night riders put it on our head, but it was a great event. It was a great
Night
event.
Rider was loaded.
Crazy loaded. But it was a good event, man. We took our kids to college visits and everything while we were there. It was, man, we had a blast at your event last year. So I do want to end with this though, man. As we start talking about the platform and the things that you put together, do we know what the schedule is going to look like? They gave us an extra week back in the recruiting calendar this year.
I'm rolling out 2 live periods right in April.
Let's go.
You already know I'm doing 2 live periods in April. Both weekends. So we got April 17th through the 19th. That'll be at my home territory, McEachern High School, and we'll go back the 24th through the 26th. So, I think it'll be really good. Like last year in April, I was surprised. Like it was over 100 college coaches in April. Then July was crazy with, probably more so upper the 200 college coaches that feel the baseline to watch independent teams.
Yep, ton of
100%. What are you hearing from these college coaches, man, when it comes to the recruiting period stuff, the changes and stuff in the schedule? Like, are they finding it tougher? On the timeline, it seemed like the condensed timeline could make it harder for them to find kids.
Right, like if you're not a top 100 kid, like these coaches, like okay, like Mark mentioned earlier, the transfer rate is already over 900 kids. So now you're going to shorten the window when college coaches can actually see kids playing in a competitive setting, right? Like playing dudes who we know are really good. 'Cause you can catch some guys at their high school and like, okay, like you go drop 30, but you're not playing anybody.
Against,
So now you shrink that window down to last year. It was 7 days that kids could go play AAU. Like it's really hurting kids. Some kids who need all those weeks from
those
April
3 weekends,
and July.
Yeah.
To get scholarship offers. Like I seen like several kids who I thought like, yo, they were really good in July. Now, when the camps come up, those kids aren't even going to camps.
Invited,
So, like the regional camps that they had. Like I went to Houston. There were a lot of kids who shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
There was a lot of kids who shouldn't have been there, and there was guys here in my home state, like in Atlanta, who didn't have a clue about camp. They didn't know what was going on. So, for guys who are at them low to mid majors, like who are really beating the streets and grinding, it's really hard for those guys.
Like if you're gonna give a week back, it should have been July.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
2 weeks in July and 1 week in April.
Yeah.
My thing, give another week back in July.
Yeah.
Like it's still not enough time for people.
It's not.
For people to be seen.
And then with kids changing teams in the summertime. So if you ain't on that right team in live period in July, because we seen that with Dawson with Smyrna Stars.
Right.
He was playing on another team during live period. Then he got with the Smyrna Stars. The following week was giving people 40. And we was like, where was you last week?
That nobody seen it.
Yeah.
So like I think it's tough, but like another thing is too, like parents put the kids in wrong situations, chasing the wrong thing. Instead of you being like, you ain't gotta chase the bright lights. You can only go to one school. So put your kid in the right situation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just gonna shameless plug our organization. Georgia Man Up has made our commitment that we are playing on the radar events. We are not chasing. So we're leaving the circuit. We're leaving Under Armour to be fully committed to on the radar, and that's just where we see the most value. No sense, for us to go and do that. After what we saw, I took some of the guys from our staff to a couple of those events, the April event, the period event. We got a chance to play in it. We actually won at our age group in the live period in April.
I remember,
You know what I'm saying? That was, on a, Bryce gets the future state champion stuff though, but never mind. Never mind. So we got a chance to play in that event. We won our division, but more importantly, it wasn't about us winning our age group. I wanted the rest of our staff to go see where we were trying to go. That 17U journey, like this is what it's supposed to look like when you walk in the gym. And we went to some of the circuit events as well. And I said, okay, they walked in and they looked in the front and it was all good. I said, no, walk with me back here. Walk with me back here in the back. Do we want to be here or do we want to be over here?
On the ESPN court.
ESPN. So, like, it was an easy decision for us. We want to be on one of them first 3 courts that McEachern during live period when On the Radar is there. We don't want to take a chance on being on court 11.
Nah, you on another gym.
In another
gym.
We don't want that.
30 miles out.
So that was an easy choice for us. So, man, Locke, it's about that time. You ready?
That time. Yes.
Are you ready? Oh, wait.
We gonna really get out of here without talking about open runs? Like
Please not open run.
Y'all win.
We got 12 minutes. Let's go. Let's get it.
I ain't got nothing to say. My open runs be off the chain. You came to it. What you think about it?
I was there. I gave my opinion on what I thought open runs should be. Right? I've worked with other people who had them. We just never called it that.
Yeah.
So when we go train, we were training with Nick Stapleton. When we go train with Nick, we train for an hour, and then the last hour to hour and a half is
You
hoop.
Yeah.
Right? So it's 5-on-5. We just traditionally trying to work on the things that we just did in that training for the first hour or whatever, or hour and a half or whatever we did. And the segments that I talked about is kind of how we set it up, right? Man, half court man, full court man, working on ball screens, no switching, that type of stuff. And that's how we segment it. That's where, kind of my thoughts came from.
And this how I just honestly feel about my run. The kids happy, the parents happy. I had 2 high school coaches just text me and said, I heard my players did good this past weekend. And the college coaches hit me up. Them the only not being happy. So anybody else judging my open run, come to it before you judge it. I would have one on Black Friday. Come hoop, or come to the open run, then go hit up Hoops Giving, or go hit up the Under Armour event.
So
That's
they dropping their kids off where they go shop.
Hey, you can. It's a safe environment.
Right.
You play, and I'm letting you work on stuff that you've been doing with your trainers. And think about it, and people say, what you mean by controlled scrimmages? I had 2 college players yesterday. Well, I had one former Division I coach helping me do the open run. And he said, man, I'm not going to say the coach's name, but he said, you're doing a great job. I had Willie Evans, played at, worked with us, Shun, played college ball. He was another coach. People know Willie's great trainer. He's having me do the open run. So it's just like kids just out here just hooping. We're breaking stuff down. We're talking to them. It's just controlled scrimmages. It's just like no up and down. I'm letting the kids just rip and run, layups, breakaways and different things like that. It's controlled. I'm still letting them play, but we giving them different scenarios where we putting 3 minutes on the clock. You seen it, Mondre. All right, you got 3 minutes. What y'all gonna do in these 3 minutes? Because in a varsity game, that's how many minutes you may get. So I'll try to get the freshmen to know, impact those, do something in those 3 minutes. I see you laughing over there more. I don't care. That's my opinion. But in those 3 minutes, make something happen. So I try to get that established in their head because, a lot of those kids don't even have confidence in their game. I've been seeing it the past 3 weeks where I see kids train all the time. But they get in the game, man, they be like a deer in headlights. When that cone ain't there, when that man is there chopping his feet, moving. So I'm trying to get kids. Like you said, kids don't hoop.
They don't.
It's really, who goes to LA Fitness be like, all right, I'm finna go play with these grown men. They're scared. First of all, they can't drive there. A lot of times their parents probably don't feel that they're safe there. So I'm putting a safe environment where basically you're coming to hoop for a couple of hours. And it's the same price as a training session. So it's like, okay.
There you go. I know.
There it is.
So that's stamped by Dante Metlock.
And I do want to make sure people understand too that I was asked the question on Twitter and I answered it and I stand behind exactly what I said because I know what I've seen. But also I don't run an open run. I don't make any money off of any of the. Matter of fact, I don't make a dime off of any of the events that y'all hear from me. Even the highlight films and stuff that you see for the majority of them. I have had people gracious enough to show love and send me stuff, and I'm happy for that. But in general, you see highlights, all that stuff from me. I don't make a dime from it. So I do it because I enjoy the game. I love what I do, and I want to see kids have their stuff put out there. So I put it out.
That's all I wanted, because we got Mark Edwards in the bit. I wanted to make sure that the Love of the Game podcast was not a part of ducking season when it talks about open run.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure.
At all.
All right, let me do my part. All right, so we're doing the South Got Something to Say. Now, I'm not going to speak about South Georgia on this segment, per se, but I do want to talk about it's 2 good events south of Atlanta. Okay, I want to talk about their
South of the airport.
Yeah, south of the airport. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
One great event. Kowalski is having an event December 7th.
Yeah.
The Hardwood Invitational, and he has some pretty good teams. He got Cedar Grove versus Houston County, McDonough versus Howard. The one I'm very excited about, Central Macon versus South Cobb.
Hey, Moultrie,
He's not running from them. And you got Warner Robinson versus Westside Macon. So that's gonna be some pretty good matchup on December 7th. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. Another one is a great event. This is a first year event. Also, my dude Brad Martin, EYA Sports, he's having an event. He has boys and girls. Now I don't see the matchups, but he do have some great programs down in the South Atlanta. He has Morrow High School for the boys, Forest Park, Jonesboro, Sandy Creek, Thurl, Chapel Hill. Now I don't know New Creation, Christian. That's the first.
Actually, I think they had a couple of kids at the freshman U.
Oh,
New Creation did. I think they did. They had a couple of kids at the freshman U.
Mount Vernon, Mount Zion High School, and Benjamin Mays. That's who he had on board side. Now I don't know who's gonna be matched up, but there's some really good teams
I
there.
think Sandy Creek and Thurl are going
Gonna match it up.
Nightcap. Yeah.
That's
Okay,
good.
yeah. And then for the girls side, he has Banneker, Stone Mountain, Sandy Creek, Eagles Landing, Griffin, Langston Hughes, Jonesboro, Douglas High School, Central Macon, and Mount Zion. And this will take place December 27th and 28th at Clayton State University. So if you're on that south side, you got 2 days to catch some great basketball. So you want to try to catch those games out.
I'll give you another one on in Macon now. Go talk to Coach Grooms at Northeast Macon. He's got a Legends Classic.
Yeah.
I don't know all the teams that's going on, but I know we playing Howard in Macon.
Really?
Today, yeah. So
That's what's up, man. So we can't call it the South got something to say. That was middle. The middle got
It
something
was
to
the
say.
South. It was the South. Hey, but you know the
South
crazy
of
thing,
Atlanta.
South
crazy thing is,
I'm with it.
anything below South Atlanta, they think
People
it's
in
South
South.
Georgia. Like me and Koisi getting argue with guys when they get us confused and say,
That's South
oh,
Georgia.
that's
South
South Georgia.
Georgia.
I'm like,
Middle
Koisi
Georgia.
is strictly middle Georgia.
I got to give South Georgia a harder time, like, because I got to mess with Locke. Like, this y'all gonna catch it from me
See,
by proxy at this
when
point.
I
like,
take him to
I
that
gotta give him a hard
Maryland's on
time.
Slappy, that fried chicken place.
Hey, look, when I come to Albany, I better get every piece of fried chicken that y'all have, dog. I want all the smoke.
I got you.
I want
you.
all the good juice. Like, I expect a red carpet, man, when I come down
We
there.
got you.
So now we'll end it like we always end it, man. 4 minutes stuff. We're gonna end it with You Don't Even Know It, where we kind of put y'all on game about players you might be sleeping on, events you might be sleeping on, or just things in general that you may not know.
Sean, you got to do this part too.
Yeah, man, that's great stuff. It's great
I'll
stuff.
let you.
We'll put Mark
I'll
in.
go first.
We'll put Mark in too if you got one.
Mark, come on. You want to get on this?
So mine is, you ain't even know it, and I put this out yesterday. Whether you're a high school player, a high school coach, or a parent, you need to take time to go watch a JUCO event, game, or practice.
NAIA too.
Well, hold on. Before you can even consider what level you think your kid can play, whether it's D1, D2, NAIA, D3, because that will give you an example of how hard, how tough it is to get a college scholarship.
100%. Go Lock.
All right. So, one thing I just want to say, freshmen, is nothing wrong playing ninth grade or JV.
Preach.
It is nothing wrong because you can play varsity and ride that bus, that train the whole game and won't improve. But if you playing ninth grade and JV and you getting your rocks off, that's gonna really build your confidence up. So it's nothing wrong. I know you got tryouts tomorrow. If you don't make varsity, there's nothing wrong with that. Just all right.
Fellas, y'all got one?
Man, you know, for me, I'll keep it to my platform, right? So you go through the high school season and you have a really good high school season. You don't have to play on a shoe team to get a scholarship.
100.
You're only
Preach.
going to, right? You can have, it don't matter if you have 30 scholarships or one scholarship, you can only go to one school. So
Preach.
for me, you know, I think I hear that parents get really caught up. I want my kid to play on the shoe team, which those platforms are amazing.
Of
right?
course, yeah.
But
Every kid ain't a shoe kid.
every kid isn't a shoe kid. So just because now, like, you might be on this Adidas teams and you guys might be traveling everywhere, but if you aren't playing,
You ain't getting recruited.
5
then
minutes a game.
it really doesn't matter. Like now, like we got the banners with Ja Morant, Zion. Both of those kids have played on my platform. Zion with Game Elite.
Yep.
Ja Morant with Team South Carolina.
Yep.
Then like I take a kid like Terrell R,
Yeah, exactly.
who played for an Adidas program, didn't pick up one JUCO D2 nothing. He didn't pick up nothing. Played on the Georgia Canes and played April and July.
Blew up.
And that kid blew up. Picked up probably close to 20 offers.
He was the hottest kid this summer.
So, you know, my thing is, you know, even if you play in Atlanta every weekend, you're gonna play in front of coaches. All you need is
One coach to like you, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
you know, like for me, I don't want parents and kids to get consumed with playing on the shoe team. Like it's good, but if you're not playing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No doubt. Mark, we got 1 minute. You gonna give
30
us
seconds,
one?
Mark. We got 30 seconds.
I got a good one too.
For all the kids that are playing high school basketball, high school, college, even professional, you have to continue to develop your game once practice is over. You can't just go to practice and then go home, because at practice, you guys are working on the plays.
Yep.
So, you know, it's more team oriented. Now, you should be working on what happens when I get the basketball in that particular situation. If Coach Huff draws out the game-winning play for you to curl and you're wide open for the shot, if you haven't practiced that shot on your own, you're not going to make that shot. You're not going to be efficient. You're not going to be effective. So you guys have to balance books and basketball. You know, having a social life is going to come with being an athlete. You know, having a social life finds you. You don't need to go looking for a social life. So you should be more focused on your books and your basketball, and that extends past just regular practice. Get with somebody, get with myself, get with Nick, Double Trouble, Dorian. You know, it's a bunch of guys out
There's
here.
a lot of
training
guys out
now.
here that's pretty
You know,
good,
my
yeah.
man Dez still does a little something, but continue to develop your game, and you know, it's a perfect thing. The South has something to say. We're taking over basketball, and that's how.
Exactly.
100%.
Yep.
Hey, I'm gonna close this out with our TV power rankings, and we out of here. I'm gonna give them to you in order. Okay. Power is last. Next is Snowfall. Snowfall's 100 times better than Power. Don't at me. I'm not arguing.
I will agree with
The
you.
the number one list in your power ranking top 3, the Wu-Tang Saga is better than both of them. Holla at me. The Wu-Tang Saga on Hulu is better than both of those shows. Wu Wednesday is back. Love the game, man. Holla at us, dog. Keep rocking with us. October 27th is our next show with CY, Florida State assistant coach. It's the love of the game, and we out.
Man, I'm on that.